and welcome to Hixxy Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's stamping on acetate and it's using this stamp from Nellie's Choice. It's a clear stamp. It's from the Idyllic Floral Scenes and it's called Tree on Shore. Now this is the way it stamps. So you can already see that this is not exactly what's going on here. So what I'm doing is doing a bit of reverse stamping. Now, you can get plates to do reverse stamping onto card, but a lot of people don't have those. So I thought, well, we'd stamp direct onto acetate, but because acetate's clear, we can flip the piece of acetate. So I'm going to show you how to create this larger card from this stamp, okay? So we're going to just start with our piece of acetate. And I'm going to grab my stamping mat, and I'm putting some paper on because of the way I'm stamping the second time. We're going to end up going off the page, and I don't want it to go onto my stamping mat. So the thing with stamping onto acetate is you have two options. You can stamp with most inks if you're going to emboss them, and then they will stay. If you don't emboss them, then they will just wipe off. The only ink that you can really use to stamp onto acetate that you don't need to emboss in is Stazon. Now, I have used Stazon. Unfortunately, I didn't use black because when I went to get my black out, I was intending to do a black and white sort of combination. My black pad had dried up, so I'm going to need a new one of those. I'll have to pop onto the website. So what I've done, it stays on, but I've had to use this one. This is Midnight Blue. So we've gone for this kind of tealy bluey thing, but the main focus is the technique that you can use it. So I've got my piece of acetate and I have my stamp. Now I know people are a little bit sort of about using things like Stazon on clear stamps. I will, as you can see, I have used it, but I will clean this off with a stamp cleaner. So, you know, what happens is they tend to go yellowish. They don't stop working. They just tend to discolour. So, she's just trying to get a thing. Right, so we're going to ink this up. I'm going to push that away from me, so I've got a little bit of room here for inking. So I am inking up my stamp. I'm not using a stamping platform because when you're fiddling around moving things, it's not that straightforward, which is why I'm using my stamping mat. But these stamps are I'm not gonna jinx myself now, but these stamps are pretty good at stamping out first time, so I'm not going to be too worried. Now, you do take your time because you're stamping onto a non-porous, slippery surface with a slippery ink, and I've already got ink on my bit of acetate, but we'll worry about that another time. So I'm going to bring my stamp not completely to the edge, but fairly close to the edge. If I can see the edge of my acetate with the lights glaring, I think about there. So I'm going to put my stamp down, and I'm just going to take my time to try not to sort of slide it, but to push from above to make sure that all bits of the stamp have made contact with the acetate. So again, just be careful that you're not pushing sort of from the side that will make it slide. Okay. Okay. Fingers crossed. There we go. So there is our first stamp. Okay. Now I'm just going to give that a little few seconds to air dry before we flip it over, because what I don't want to do is flip this over and smudge it. So yes, Stazon dries on non-porous, but you know, anything onto a non-porous surface is going to take just a little second to dry. So we'll just give that a little minute. So I'm not going to put it down the paper, but I'll show you what we're doing. So this is now going to turn over like this. And then I am going to stamp again that way. Okay. But I'm going to get myself a piece of copy paper because I don't want the clouds and I don't want the tree. So I'm just going to literally put a piece of copy paper. I'm not bothering with masks or anything like that. I am literally going to put a piece of copy paper between the stamp and the acetate to make sure that it doesn't stamp. So I'm just going to test this on a little bit. Okay, that's not smearing, so we are ready to go. So that's our original stamp. I am now turning this over, and I can see I've got lots of bits of fluff. Lots of bits of fluff, which is why I think I'm getting this smudge here. Anyway, we can see all these little bits. Okay, let's go with it. So I am now going to ink my stamp up again. I'm going to try not to put ink on the tree or the cloud area, but there will still be some residual ink. It's just the way it is. So that's why I'm going to grab some copy paper. I'm going to one piece. I'm just going to rip a little bit. And I'm literally going to turn this over. And I know that I don't want anything kind of there, but I do want that kind of hill area. So let's put a little bit over where the clouds are going to be, which is probably going to be about there. And then I can hold this bit over my tree like so. Now, what I'm looking to do, I'm going to move this towards me so I can see, is to line up the horizon line. Oh, I've pretty much got it there. So I'm going to go down. So I've lined up my horizon line. I've got my bit of copy of paper between the tree and the clouds. So fingers crossed, what we should end up with is kind of the reverse of this. Now you are going to get a little bit of an overlap or a gap. It depends how close we've managed to get it in the middle, but you know, let's see how we go. There we go. There you go. So, oh, we've got a tiny little bit here, but that's okay. We'll deal with that. So that is our scene. Let's see if I can just get that to go. No, it's already dried. That's the thing with Stazon, it will already dry, but it's okay. It's a nice little bit in the sky. Right, so I've now got my complete scene, and I could use it that way. I could use it that way, but I prefer it that way. And you can see that's why I've got the paper here. I've got these extra bits that I didn't really want stamping on my stamping mat. So what I need to do now, we're just going to put that to one side. We're going to cut this down in a bit because we don't need all of it. It's only just the edges that we're going to cut, but we'll put that to one side because what we need now is a bit of card to go behind. Oh, dear, inky fingers. So we are going to use Distress Oxide Tumble Glass. That's all we need. And I'm going to grab myself a brush. That looks like a tumbled glass brush. And what I want to do is I want to create a piece where I've got kind of a white area in the middle. That's all I'm aiming for. All right, so I'm just going to apply the ink. In fact, bear with me, I'm just going to get my inking mat off here so I can go off the sides and I know I'm not getting it on my actual mat. Now, I can keep referring to this if I'm trying to work out where I am with everything. Go, right, okay, where do I want the the circle. I kind of want it there, so I'm going to bring this one in a bit. And make it more in the middle there. See my fingers, and there's also ink on my stamping mat, which doesn't help. Case of, you know, learn to clear up behind myself, and I should be able to do it by now, but I tend to forget until I'm ready to do another project, and then by then it's too late. So we are just putting lots of tumbled glass on to create our background. Excuse me. Just kind of trying to soften the edge around that circly bit that we want in the middle. Let's just bring that in and see how we're doing. So we're going to come down here now. I'm going to grab a piece of paper, just put my fingers on so I'm not transferring anything to that there. Okie dokie. Now I need to make sure that I've done enough to kind of go out around this. That's going to come in a bit, so I do need a little bit more at this end to make sure I've covered it. Oh, where's my bit? Yeah. Check that again if I've got enough. Yeah. A little bit more. Right, okay, so I have my little inky background. Now I am just going to give this a blast with the heat gun, just to blow it off a little bit. Because trying to stick things down when you've got slightly damp card can be a bit tricky. And I'm going to be using a spray adhesive, so I want to be sure, fingers crossed, that it will stick down. Because with acetate, if you use an ordinary glue, then it's just going to show through. So we're going to spray it and stick it down. Right. So we need to. Excuse me. How rude. Rude. Let's grab our little thing here. We're going to start by, I think, going along the bottom. So I'm using the two kind of, I don't know if you can see from above, the two kind of like bits of grass at the bottom as my guide to make that first cut. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut a little bit off the side, and then I'm going to cut a bit across the top. There maybe. And then I'm going to cut sort of to the end of that tree. Right, now, before I do anything else, I want to just check that this is going to fit on here, which it is. Okay, that's excellent. Oh, that way. That's the way to do it. That's the way we want it. So what I'm going to do then, it's the perfect width for me, but I need to cut off a little bit. So I've got a little bit out here, a little bit here, and I want to cut it down so I've got a bit either side. So I'm looking for my pencil there. So I'm going to eyeball this at about here and here. And I'm going to, I deliberately didn't put it on the floor so it'll be there, and I go and look on the floor. Right, so this is going to slide in. And we cut down that. And then slide in and cut down there. Okay. Those bits away. There. And let's get rid of these off cut. So this will now fit onto here. I'm not going to stick anything yet because I just want to be absolutely doubly sure that I've got everything I need. Now I had a bit of card. Where's that gone? A bit of white card to mount that on. Not to worry, I'll find one in my box in a moment. So I have the back, the matte layers for the back. Oh, messy, messy. And this one is going to, see now it is a bit long. So that's okay. That's why I didn't want to stick anything until I was ready. So what I'm going to do is I am first of all going to cut the image down. And I'm going to cut from this side. I don't really want to cut into the tree anymore. I'm going to cut a little bit more from that side. One of those things that you just got to play a little bit with. We cut that down, which then also means we're going to need to cut. Should we go take it that way? Well, we'll take it that way, I think. So we just need to cut some more off of here. Because this piece is also going to go on a bit of white card, which is why I'm just still playing with it. And that's the bit of white card that I can't find. I had it. There we go. This will do. It's white card. It will do. So let's just push that out of the way for a moment. Now that's looking better. If I put this onto a piece of white card, I should still have room. Yeah. We'll cut this. We'll cut a piece of white card to fit this, and then we'll just try it all again before we stick it together. Once it's stuck together, then it's too late. But we can play with it to make sure that we've got the right size before we stick it down. Right, so I'm going to pick this piece of white card. See, I think I just need to, this needs to be a bit smaller. I'm going to just chop it. In fact, I'm going to chop it that way, and I'm going to chop it that way, and then we'll make the rest of it fit. This is really good. This Crafter's Companion Guillotine, which I'm pretty sure is just back in stock on the website, on the Hixxycrafts website. It's got such a really good grip to it. Sometimes too good that I can't actually move the piece of card. Right, so we've got that bit. Actually, that will fit. That will fit. And then, oh, that's going to go over the top like so. Yes. Now we're cooking on gas. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get my little spray tray, and I'm very aware of all the things that are slowly encroaching into my workspace, but I'm sure you will all do that at home. So that's the way I want it stuck. So I need to put it down, and I need to grab my double-sided spray. Okay, and I always spray it a little bit just off the project first, because sometimes the first bit that comes out isn't a fine spray, but that was. So we're just gonna spray that. Now we'll give a kind of a, I don't know how to explain it. Mottled is not the right word, but it won't give you a crystal clear stick, and nothing is going to give you an absolute crystal clear stick. Even if you put it on double-sided sticky, you're still going to get a little bit of a bobbling. So I'm just going to put that to the side and hoping that I'm not sticking it to myself while we're giving it its a little bit of time to supposed to give it 30 seconds for I don't really know what for, but you give it 30 seconds and then it's ready. So if we stick this bit on, I know that's a little bit grubby, that's why I've managed to get ink on it from something else. Put that in there before I lose it. And we'll stick this one on, and then we will stick the acetate to our background. Okay, and I can see I've managed to get a little bit of inky stuff on there, but we will survive. There we go. That is now stuck, and yeah, way easier than trying to use a glue or a tape or even double-sided sticky. That's up, down, and then this goes onto the white card like so, and then make sure we've got this up the right way, and this is going to go comme ça. So a bit of glue on that. Worth taking that little bit of time to fiddle around with the size of this, because if it's too big it won't tilt enough. I don't want it completely tilted, but just to give it a little bit of interest. Okay, so we now need to let's get rid of that. You just stamp our sentiment, and I am going to use Julie Hickey Everyday Sentiment Stamp, which I'm using a lot at the moment. So what we're going to do, happy birthday, happy birthday. Showing my age if I start singing that one. So happy. Oh, I'm going to need a big block. Let's go with the one that's meant for sentiments. Happy birthday. Okay, let's turn it over. Let's check. I'm happy with that. I've got my little bit cut already. Let's check I've got them in the right place to fit. And I do. So we're just going to stamp this with the Stazon as well, just so that it fits in. But you will notice that this looks a completely different colour on card than it does on the acetate. It's exactly the same ink, but because this is not on the acetate, it just looks different. Oh, it hasn't stamped particularly well. I can't turn it over. That'll do. It will do. I'm tempted to go back in over it, but if I do that, I'll just ruin it. So we're going to just go with that. Can you see though? It looks so much darker. I mean, it is called Midnight Blue, and it looks much more Midnight Blue on this than it does on that acetate. So let us stick this star. And oh no, I don't want glue on that. I need glue on this. Glue on here. Okay, and then all that remains is for us to attach the sentiment on the bow with a bit of glue gel. Oh, and I think I might have some no, I'll show it. I put a couple of little flat back pearls on the bow on the other one, but we'll leave that for this one. We'll just stick that on. So there we have our reverse stamping I say reverse stamping. Reverse stamping or mirror stamping tends to be where you put it onto something and then restamp it. I've kind of done like a cheats way, really, in terms of using the acetate and just flipping the acetate. But it works, so I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, there you have it. And we used the idyllic floral scene. This is Tree on Shore from Nellie Snelling. So there is another video on the channel which has a completely different take on this stamp, and there is also a couple of others with a different one from the series, so have a look and check those out too. Thank you for joining me.